very interesting issue, and the success of the projects depends on these two issues primarily. The speaker will be Dr. Abraham Cyril Isaac, Assistant Professor, School of Business, IIT Guwahati. Dr. Isaac, you are there? Yeah, please take over.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. So before proceeding further, I'll just share my screen.
I have some question to Professor Kalita. I will ask later.
Mr.
Yes.
Day, Mr. Day, just I interrupt. After this, we will have a half an hour break. We can utilize this break session as question answer session. This break will be utilized as a question answer session. Please accommodate with us, and we'll utilize that break session as for the question answer. Right?
Professor
That I will
Banerjee,
take it
actually,
later.
Yeah.
Professor Banerjee, sorry to interrupt. Actually, I have some other commitments. I need to leave now. But
Okay.
if there is any question, I can take it right now. If it's
Okay.
short,
Okay. So,
or you can pass it to me.
Dr. Isaac, can you wait for 2 minutes? Let him answer the question.
Yes.
Since he will be not there in the break session.
All right, no problem, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Day, you can carry on with your question.
Dr. Kalita, it's an excellent lecture, but one point I like to know or better educate myself regarding the level 3 network for project monitoring and management. The role of level 3 network for project monitoring and management.
There's some problem with my loudspeaker. I'm not being able to clearly understand. If you can please write it. There's some problem with my loudspeaker. It was not coming clearly. You're talking
Can
about
you
some
repeat?
level
Can
3.
you repeat, Mr. Day?
Yes,
Can you
yes.
repeat your question?
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible to all of us. But
you are audible, but in my system there is some loudspeaker problem. In
Dr.
my
Kalita,
system.
let me repeat. Kindly let us know about the role of level 3 network in project monitoring and management.
Level 3 network.
Yes. I understand there are three in the monitoring system: level 1, level 2, and level 3 network. Kindly let us know about the level 3 network.
Your question is not very clear to me. What do you mean by level 3 network? That is also not very clear to me.
What I suggest, Mr. Day, can you write the question and send it to Dr. Kalita? She will reply it maybe later on also.
Okay, I can mail you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Dr. Isaac, can you just start your session?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm just trying to. I'll try to share.
Yeah.
I'm unable to share the screen. I'm just
So
checking.
I request my Pallav, can you help? Pallav, can you help him in sharing?
Yeah, yeah. Am I having
I,
the
I've done it.
presentation mode access?
Just tell him how to share.
Or maybe Dr. Abraham, you can do one thing. You can email it to or Mr. Pallav. He will share from his end.
Okay, okay, sir. I'll just click
Yeah.
once more.
You
Pallav,
try,
give your email
please.
number in the
Yeah,
comment box. Give your
yeah.
email
Give
number.
it in the chat box, and Dr. Abraham, you take the email and just email him.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be better.
Hey,
Can you see the email? Dr. Pallav has already posted it.
just give him the email. Mail. He will show from here. It has come. Just make it full screen.
Oh,
Oh,
it has come.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good.
Fantastic. Carry on.
Good, good, good. Please go
Good.
get going. Yeah. Thank you.
Now carry on.
You are muted. Dr. Abraham, unmute yourself. Now share it again.
Just
Yeah, was fine.
just unmute
So, can
yourself
you hear
and
me
speak.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. You
All
are
Now
right,
fine.
sir. Thank you. Thank
totally
you.
audible.
Thank you for
Totally
the
audible. Please
yeah,
carry
yeah,
on.
yeah. Thank you for the confirmation. And yeah, we are running a little bit late. That's fine. So thank you once again for inviting me to this short course and giving me this opportunity. So today I'll be taking two critical aspects: one with respect to cash flow, and another with respect to negotiation specifically. We have I do understand that we have a mix of people who have come from industry as well as academia. So I'll try to strike the via media the zone where both of them can actually equally benefit. So to start away, directly moving into the presentation, I'm Dr. Abraham Sellisek. I'm working as an assistant professor at the School of Business here at IIT Guwahati. So mastering your cash flow, that's indeed a great thing that one should able to understand. But then our agenda for today, in the first part, I'll divide my time into two. Half of the session I'll be looking into the cash flow management, and the other half I'll be specifically focusing on negotiation, which happens to be more of my research area as well as my area of interest. So we will introduce a topic. We'll look into the basis of billing, how we create a billing schedule, cash flow management strategies, and even we'll have a scan of the look at the tools for billing schedule and cash flow management, etc. So coming to the presentation in criticality, introduction. Any single business or every single business owner will have to have a track over his or her finances. There's no doubt about it. There's no second thought on that. But where to start? Where does the billing schedule comes in? So an effective billing schedule can actually ensure that all the businesses that you are running is getting paid on time, and it definitely has a critical impact on the cash flow. Now, that said, we'll also be looking about cash flow management, because that is something which is more critical and more beneficial actually, and more to be streamlined in a business setting, is cash flow management. So let's look into billing and its basis. Billing is defined as the step-by-step process of requesting payment from customers by issuing invoices. There is no rocket science here. We all know in a day-to-day basis, from going to a shop to a personal level interaction at any convenience store, or maybe conducting a service, charging on the service, or billing for the service. Every single activity actually looks in or takes in an invoice. An invoice is a commercial document businesses use to request payment and record sales. Now, billing process in accounting has three main steps. One is reviewing bill information, second is to generate the invoice, and third is obviously to send out the invoice. But before that, we should understand billing has certain bases. Now, one by one, if you look into, one could be time-based billing. Billing can be based on the amount of time you actually. I've seen that many a time consultants charge for the time spent on providing services. Legal services is yet another example. Freelancing. So the billing rate is multiplied by the number of hours or minutes worked, often tracked using timesheets. Now, there's another basis which is flat rate or fixed fee rate, predetermined amount charged for a specific product or service. So this approach is often used for little bit of standardized services projects, like you do this service, this is the charge, this is the invoice that is going to come up. Then there is unit based billing. Billing may be based on the quantity or volume of units actually delivered. For example, manufacturers may bill customers based on the number of units actually being produced. Let's say these many batches of product has been delivered, or these many batches of a particular medicine has been procured. So that's another basis of billing. There are yet another basis of billing, like milestone billing, in projects which define milestones or deliverables. Let's say if you're working if you have a contract with working construction of, let's say, thermal power projects, handover of, let's say, a boiler turbine generator or BCG, or maybe a FD fan or ID fan, a particular unit. So that is completion of a milestone is being charged. Another could be retainer based billing. Retainer based billing is some businesses such as, like, say, marketing agencies or legal firms may use this retaining based business billing model. This is something which is quite common, but very few people are actually honored with this. Clients pay a fixed monthly or periodic fee to retain the services of the provider. Sometimes retainer fee is provided just to not act against a particular person also. So the retainer fee typically covers a certain level of services or availability, and any additional work or hours may be actually charged separately. So if let's say there is some extra service that is happening, or extra unit that has been made, or whatever be the service or product that has been produced, there could be extra charge associated with that. But all the basic model will be retainer based billing. Then there is the most common and the most emerging one, which is the subscription based billing. The model involves recurring billing for ongoing access to product and services. It could be anything from a Netflix, from a Amazon Pay, anything which is more of subscriptions can be charged on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis, allowing customers to receive continuous benefits or access to resources provided by the business. Now, there are other basis of billing also, usage based billing. This is also pretty much common. Businesses that offer usage based services, let's say telecommunications, cloud computing services, bill based on the consumption or usage of the services. Charges are calculated based on factors like data usage, call minutes, etc. Now, cost plus billing is also yet another base of billing, where billing is based on cost plus pricing, where the client is billed for the actual cost incurred by the business plus a profit margin. So in situations where you feel that there could be a profit margin that can come in as part of the transaction, you just don't bill for the actual cost. You have a markup price in that, or billing schedule in that. So this are some of the bases of billing which are pretty much common in the industry. Now, once you have a base of or a hold over the basis of billing, understanding billing schedules is critical. A billing schedule is nothing but it's a predetermined plan or timetable that outlines when and how invoices or bills are issued towards customers or clients. So it outlines basically the time, the frequency, the payment terms, whether there is any late fees that is coming in, whether there is an extra amount of fee being charged because of some other unforeseen circumstances. So all these aspects find a way or path in the billing schedule. A well-designed billing schedule can help businesses manage their cash flow effectively by ensuring timely payments and reducing the risk of late or missed payments. So these are some of the aspects which billing schedules have. For example, if say business has a billing schedule that requires customers to pay within 30 days of receiving an invoice, they can use this information to, let's say, forecast their cash flow or even plan their expenses accordingly. So for any business venture, any organization, having a routine successful cash flow, consistent cash flow is what is more critical. So anything which aids and improves or enhances that will be a actual gain for that organization. If say business has a billing schedule that allows customers to pay whenever they want, let's take a scenario like that, they may struggle to actually predict their cash flow and may be more likely to experience more of financial difficulties. Now, how do you create a billing schedule? Creating a billing schedule can be a very daunting task. It could be a very difficult task. When creating a billing schedule, we have to consider many critical components. The first step is to determine the billing cycle, which can vary depending upon the type of businesses and even to a certain extent its customer. For example, the businesses that provide services on a regular basis, let's say on a monthly basis or weekly billing cycle, or sells product that opt for bi-weekly or quarterly billing cycle. So the first is to actually understand and establish the billing cycle, whether it is weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or quarterly, yearly. What is the actual billing cycle? So in when you are drafting a billing schedule, the first thought that has to come in your mind is specifically with respect to the billing pattern, what you have to follow. For example, you on a completion of a particular project, so if the projects are being executed on a quarterly basis, is the billing schedule going to happen on a quarterly basis? That is what need to be first disclosed or understood. Once the billing cycle has been established, it is more important to set due dates that are consistent and easy to remember. For example, this can help uh, you know uh, uh, create or eliminate the cloud of confusion. For example, when do we get the bill, when do it where payment happens? So all these questions which otherwise creates ruckus or creates issues can be actually eliminated. Next is we have to establish set payment terms, specify when payment is due, what happens if that regular payment is not received on time. Consider, let's say, offering incentives or boosting your programs with or billing schedules with, say, you pay before this date, you'll get this much percent rebate or some extra in terms of your savings. So such improvements or such improvisations can actually gain your organization a lot. Finally, make sure to communicate your billing schedule clearly to your clients. It's not that you have a billing schedule at one place and you fail to communicate it to the larger audience, and then the people who actually need to actually honor that are not communicated properly. Provide them with a detailed invoice that clearly outlines the services provided, the amount due, and the payment terms specifically. Now comes the most critical aspect, which is cash flow management. Now, cash flow, we all know, it refers to the movement of money, the travel of money in and out of the organization. Effective management of cash flow is very much critical for maintaining the financial health and stability of the business. Whatever be the organization, you are part of, let's say, education industry, you're part of energy industry, you're part of a different sector totally, a manufacturing firm, a factory, or let's say a service-based industry, ITs, whatever be the firm you are in, whatever be the organization you are looking at, cash flow management is very critical. It involves maintaining a healthy balance between cash flows, revenue, investments, loans, and cash outflows. So the balance has to be met between the inflows and outflows to have a healthy company. Otherwise, we know what is going to happen. To effectively manage liquidity, to optimize financial stability, are some of the positives which are an outcome of a good cash flow management system. Now, coming to key aspects of cash flow management, cash flow monitoring, cash flow forecasting. For example, this is something which would require an explanation. Project your future cash inflows and outflows. This will help the businesses to plan the potential challenges or opportunities. So whether you are going to get, or whether there is some fluctuation that's happening in the international market, on basis of that, some cash flow impact can happen, and it can severely impact your organization. If you are aware of this particular information and this can be known a priori, then things could be taken under control. Otherwise, it could be a very difficult time what you are going to face ahead. Managing accounts receivable, controlling accounts payable, expense management. Careful control and evaluation of expenses are very, very critical when it comes for cash flow management. It involves, you have to actually look into your expenses. How are your expenses? Are you getting charged, or your expenses are more on a particular head? Or identifying different opportunities where you can actually cut down on your expenses. You can save your cost saving opportunities, negotiating better prices with suppliers, even finding out new suppliers. You have a better deal with the different suppliers, go for them rather than sticking on to your suppliers who charge you more. Better negotiate better prices or go with a new set of suppliers. So these are certain aspects of cash flow management. But how billing mastery aids effective cash flow management is something which we have to understand critically. One is the revenue timing. The billing schedule actually determines when the company sends out invoice to its customers or clients. For example, a well-structured billing schedule ensures that the invoices are issued promptly and at regular intervals. So basically, the revenue timing is essential in understanding how cash flow management or cash flow is happening and how it could be managed effectively. Cash inflow planning. By establishing a billing schedule, businesses can typically understand and forecast what their cash inflows are, and they can schedule such that they get an insight into what and when to expect the payments from the customers, allowing the company to estimate its cash position. Let's say on 18th July 2023, or 19th July, or 20th July, what is going to be the position. Let's say we forecast a bit on, say, let's say 18th October 2023, 18th December 2023, what is going to the position. If we are going to get a picture right now, we'll be in a better position to manage our cash flow aspects. So accounts receivable management is yet another important aspect. The billing schedule influences the average collection period for accounts receivable. If, say, invoices are issued on time and at regular intervals, it encourages the prompt effective payment from customers. So any shortening the collection period, it reduces the time between the delivery of goods or services and the receipt of payment, which can also impact the cash flow positively. So these are certain techniques which can actually improve the cash flow management, or maybe create or make the cash flow management more efficient. Now, cash flow forecasting, as I've already mentioned, maybe in the next quarter, maybe a date prior, next, let's say 3 months later, 6 months later, next quarter, next to next quarter, what is the actual position? If we are able to actually gauge at this point in time, it would be better in cash flow management. Payment terms and cash conversion cycle is yet another aspect. The billing schedule determines the payment terms offered to customers, such as, say, net 30, net 60, or immediate payment upon receipt. So these are again some of the aspects that will master effective cash flow aspects. Now, coming to some strategies. As an additional point, tracking expenses is something which we have seen is effective from a individual standpoint, to a team standpoint, to an organizational standpoint. So by keeping a close eye on all expenses, let's say businesses can identify areas where they can cut costs. What could be the situations? Let's say we we have a seasonal benefit that is coming in. So why don't we cut costs? As simple as, let's say, maybe we have the winter season coming in. Why? How to cut down on the energy requirements and energy costs. So these are certain trips and tricks and of the trade which you can actually generate or develop, whereby you can actually track expenses and monitor unwanted or unwarranted expenses. This can help improve cash flow in short term and lead to long financial stability, no doubt about it. Now, managing accounts receivable and accounts payment, I've already mentioned. Forecasting cash flow also I've already mentioned. But I would like to stress on one thing. By projecting future income and expenses, businesses can anticipate potential cash flow issues. So anything that is going to happen, let's say early 2024, if I'm going to get an idea at this point in time, I can actually take steps to address them before they actually emerge out as a big issue or as a big problem. Now, this is a case study. It would have been wonderful if we were meeting offline, but then I don't know how to tackle with this. Maybe you can have a reading. I can share this ABC Consulting Services. Obviously, the name has been changed, but then there are certain aspects which this consulting services has done, and the case study. Maybe you can have a quick reading. What do you suggest? Should I go through them very quickly, or do you want some 2-3 minutes or maybe 5 minutes to read it out?
You can go ahead.
All right. Okay. So I'll just go ahead. ABC Consulting Service is a small consulting firm that offers specialized services to clients in various industries. They have experienced challenges with cash flow management due to inconsistent billing practices. Now, these are the challenges specifically. So to address this issue, they implemented a revised billing schedule and observed positive impacts on the cash flow. Now, establishing a regular billing schedule. Previously, ABC Consulting Service would invoice clients sporadically, causing delays in receiving payments. They implemented a regular billing schedule of sending invoices to clients on a monthly basis, aligning with completion of projects or the delivery of services. This change helped to ensure timely and consistent invoicing. They also looked into clear payment terms and incentives. ABC Consulting Services revised their payment terms to specify that invoices are due within 15 days of receipt. They offered early payment incentives such as, say, 2% discount for payments made within 7 days of span. So this actually brings in the cash much sooner than expected. So these measures encourage clients to pay promptly, reducing the average collection period and improving cash flow. Even automated invoicing and reminders emerged also as a time saver and a lifesaver. ABC Consulting Service adopted online invoicing software that automated the invoice generation and delivery process. This streamlined the billing process and eliminated all the manual errors. The software also sent automated payment reminders to clients before the due dates, improving the likelihood of timely payments. Now, what we understand from this is when you look into cash flow forecasting and planning, they used ABC Consulting, they used cash flow forecasting tools to project future cash positions based on the billing schedule, anticipated collections, etc. It improved customer relationships also. For example, the transparent, predictable invoicing process, as mentioned, enhanced the communication and reduced payment-related disputes and fights. Thus, in turn, improved the likelihood of on-time payments and fostered a very positive reputation. So we could have undertook like what we do in the School of Business, a case study methodology, but this is what we generally gain. I've given you the results of the analysis also here. Now, coming to some of the modern methods and tools that can aid in improving billing schedules and cash flow management. The first and the foremost is, as we have already discussed, that's why I put the case before this, online invoicing and billing software. Utilizing online invoicing and billing software platforms can generally automate the billing process that can facilitate efficient cash flow management. Now, electronic payment options is something which is a common thing now, nothing new about it. Electronic payment options like credit cards, debit cards, wallets accelerate payment collection, no doubt about it. Even mobile payment solutions to that matter, such as mobile apps and payment gateways, UPIs, the flexibility can help to expedite the payment process and improve the the cash flow. Even subscription billing models, as I already mentioned. For example, you might actually fix up a date where automatic debit happens. So implementing subscription-based billing models can provide businesses with predictable and recurring revenue streams. So whatever said and done, come whatever may be, you will get your money on, let's say you specify a date of 25, so 25th of the month, every month you're going to get. So this adds on certainty, this adds on consistency, and this adds on guarantee towards your cash flow management. Integration and accounting systems, integrating billing softwares with accounting systems like QuickBooks. We'll go about this in detail in the coming slides. QuickBooks or Zero streamlines financial management process. Even data analytics and reporting has taken a big, sizable attempt with advanced analytics and reporting tools like billing, which can give billing patterns, customer payment behavior. So it gives a bit of insight into the psyche of the individuals, so the stakeholders you are dealing with. So basically, when will they generally make a payment, or when can you, or when do you expect there's a lapse of payment? So these aspects can be critically understood. Cash flow forecasting tools, utilizing cash flow forecasting tools can effectively assist businesses in projecting the future cash positions based on the billing schedules, as I've already discussed, payment terms, and even anticipated expenses. So basically, if you look into the tools, one popular tool for billing schedule and cash flow management is the accounting software. Again, specifically, we'll go some examples of accounting software like QuickBooks, Zero, and FreshBooks. I'm not going into the details of each software, but another useful tool for cash flow management could be cash flow forecasting software. So one is the accounting software, as and when you receive it. Forecasting is something which gives you more say, more authority over your cash flow management book. This software helps businesses predict future cash flows based on past performance and the current trends. So by using these tools, businesses can better plan for the future and make informed decisions about investments and expenditure, no doubt about it. Now, examples of some of the cash flow forecasting software tools include Float, Pulse, Dry Run, etc. You might be at least well versed with one or two. Accounting software, QuickBooks, Quickly, a widely used accounting software that offers cash flow tracking, invoicing, expense management, reporting features, etc. Zero is yet another popular software with cash flow management capabilities, including it generates invoices, bill payment, bank reconciliation, and even cash flow forecasting. It does, but it's specifically an accounting software. But when you come to specific dedicated cash flow forecasting tools, Float is a good one, a cash flow forecasting tool that integrates with accounting software to provide visual forecast, scenario planning, as Professor Khalida was discussing in the previous session. I was just hearing that, and insights into future cash positions. Pulse is yet another good cash flow forecasting tool, a cash flow management tool that helps businesses monitor cash inflows and outflows, create forecasts, and track performance against projections. Even online invoicing tools, the common one, PayPal, and it's an online platform everybody knows here that enables businesses to send invoice, accept payments, and manage transactions. It integrates with various software that makes it more user friendly, if you have observed that. Stripe, a payment processing platform that allows businesses to accept credit card payments and automate all the recurring billing, is yet another aspect. Expense tracking management tools, there is something called as Expensify, a tool that, so I've tried to put everything in a comprehensive manner here, a tool that simplifies expense tracking. It goes in for receipt scanning, all aid for reimbursement processes, providing better control and visibility into whatever business expenses you are incurring. Receipt Bank is a solution that helps businesses to actually digitize receipts. Many a time, even in India, whatever digitalization you talk about, we are still a long way to go about it. So most of the times we are still handling a large bit of hard copies. So there are certain solutions like Receipt Bank which digitize receipts, invoices, and other documents, making it very easier to track and manage expenses. The moment, if you have used some of the hospitals recently, you'll see that you have to make an appointment in the app, you have to make the payment through the app. So I personally feel that that's a better option, because you have a track of your expenses, you have a track of your invoices, the bills you have paid, everything, so amount you're paid, so that's everything that is integrated, and you have a better track record rather than maintaining files after file. There are some financial analytics and reporting tools also, like Tableau, Microsoft Power BI. No need to explain that, very common. There are some cash flow monitoring alerting tools like Pulseway, a remote monitoring and management tool that provides real-time monitoring of cash flow, financial accounts, and key performance metrics. Then there is Float Cash Flow Monitor, an automated cash flow monitoring tool that tracks cash flows and outflows. I've done a bit of research on the presently existing. There are some new tools also that have come up. Maybe like you can give better idea if you know. But these are some of the tools which I have observed are currently in use in industry in a large extent. Now, what are the common challenges and solutions? It does not make sense that I only discuss about challenges. I'd also put some light into solutions which obviously you can augment or enhance. Late payments from the clients is a big challenge. It's a big no. If you want to run a healthy business, or businesses can implement clear payment terms and follow up with clients who are behind the payment. So that could be the first and foremost way to go further. It's also important to have a plan in place for dealing with the clients. Let's say whatever said and done, whatever planning you do, you will end up with some clients who actually are late in payment. So there should be a specific strategy in place for dealing with those clients, those customers who consistently pay late, such as charging late fees or terminating the business relationships, etc. Now, forecasting cash flow accurately, as I already mentioned, if you ask me, a common thread of my session across would be your cash flow relevance and forecasting the cash flow accurately. So without an accurate forecast, businesses may not have enough cash on hand to cover expenses or to take advantage of any growth opportunities that otherwise are there in the industry. So if you know that your cash flow is going to come like this, let's say in Feb 2024, you are going to get a bulk of your return, then it's always better to plan something that can actually invest or improve your organization or improve your business in a great way. To overcome this challenge, businesses can use financial softwares, as already discussed, to track income, expenses, create cash flow projections, identify potential gaps in cash flow, etc. So it's also important to regularly review and update all the cash flow forecasts to ensure that they remain accurate. Not that you have done it in say on 15th of July and you leave it that, and you see that you predicted something that 18 October 2023 you're going to get this much, but you didn't see the scenario that has changed from 15 July to, let's say, 18th October. So things can go it can create issues for you in long run. So better be on tab with every single transaction that is happening. To conclude, this is the first part of my session. Every billing schedules and cash flow management are essential for the success of businesses of all size. Understanding what a billing schedule is and how it impacts cash flow, businesses can create an effective billing schedule that meets their needs. So this includes invoicing frequency, includes payment terms, late fees. So managing cash flow effectively requires every single strategy, right from forecasting to monitoring expenses to setting financial goals. So all strategies should be at place to have a perfect cash flow, and that is how you are going to get a control over the cash flow management. By implementing a solid billing schedule and utilizing cash flow management techniques, businesses can actually avoid risks associated with all the poor cash flow management and related aspects, and get a certain level of financial stability. I will with all guarantee, I can say 50 to 60% of financial stability comes with a consistent cash flow. However, challenges can arise when it comes to billing schedules and cash flow management specifically. These challenges can be overcome by implementing issues or solutions like automating invoicing processes, offering incentives for early payments, as I already mentioned, and seeking professional advice would be the last way to go ahead with. So these are some of the aspects which I believe that can improve the cash flow in large extent, to a large extent. So I just stop sharing here the first part of my presentation. I will also look into the negotiation. So I'll do one thing. I'll go ahead and I'll do the negotiation part also before going into any questions. Is that fine?
Yes, Dr. Abraham, I have a small question.
Yes, sir, please.
Do you agree that billing schedule should be linked with milestone?
Billing schedule should be linked to milestone. Is
Actually,
yeah.
actually, we did it in Bhakreshwar.
Okay.
We made the billing schedule linked with milestone. Suppose FOB, that is freight on board, then again, or CIF, cost insurance freight, supply item.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
again, erection start, erection complete, something like that.
Okay.
Billing schedule linked with milestone. And we actually achieved a great
Okay.
success.
So it certainly depends on the sector which you are involved in also. For example, let's say you are specifically
Power sector.
Power sector, yeah, that's why I can understand that. But let's say if you are more into a service-centered sector or a process-oriented center, things might be different there, especially when it comes to, let's say, you are providing education services or something like that. Then it could be like you might not be actually inclined in clubbing with the milestone schedule. That's my take on it. But then you have seen tremendous success in the power sector.
Thank you.
Is it
Thank you.
okay? All right. So I hope there are no more questions. So I'll go to the second part of my session today, and so I hope you can see it. The mastering, I've just changed the title a bit to make it more interesting. Is it visible? Can anybody just give me a confirmation?
Yes,
And
yes, it's visible.
all right. Thank you. So mastering the art of procurement and negotiation in project management. To be specific, let me put things into perspective. I am actually a behavioral researcher. I work in organizational behavior, specifically with my research area in knowledge hiding. So I'm more into like a couple of electives which I float include negotiation, etc. So this is more of my research agenda, but I will quickly go through this since 5:30 is the time allotted to me. I will try to stick on with the time. That's also very critical. So moving into the second part of today's session, we'll introduce the topic. Obviously, understanding procurement and project management is vital. The procurement process specifically. Then we'll come to negotiation. What are the different effective negotiation techniques? We'll have a look into contract management, the risk management aspects, and we'll conclude that. So basically, when we look into procurement and negotiation, there are two critical aspects of project management. No second opinion on that. So it can actually create and even destroy the project as and when it is required. So we will explore the procurement, what it is, why it is critical, how effective negotiation techniques can help you achieve your project goals. Now, what is procurement? Procurement is a process of acquiring goods and services from external sources. If you're having something internal, it's there in the inventory, it's there with you. You need not procure it from outside, right? Procurement, the basic idea of procurement comes when there is a shortage or you are actually expecting it from an external source. So it involves identifying the needs of the project, selecting the right vendors, negotiating contracts, and manage a supplier relationship. These are words which are easier said than done, but you having practice experience in the world of practice, you will see that it is very difficult to always look into the right vendors, negotiating contracts. These are easier said than done. So effective procurement planning can help you reduce costs, it can help you mitigate risk, and ensure timely delivery of the project deliverables. So across my session today, leftover time, I will be stressing on these aspects: how to reduce costs, how it mitigates risk, how it ensures timely delivery. So time and again, I'll be specifying, I'll be underscoring on these aspects. Negotiation, on the other hand, is the art of reaching an agreement between two or more parties with conflicting interests. If there were agreement in terms of interest, there was no need for negotiation. Some negotiation or the requirement of negotiation has basically come at a point where there is a conflict. It can be nurtured, it can be enhanced or embellished by strong communication skills, strategic thinking, and ability to find a common ground. Negotiation classes or negotiation lectures or presentations, they just tackle the first two, but ability to find a common ground is equally critical, if not more. So coming to understanding procurement in project management, procurement involves identifying the needs of the project. So basically, a person who has not the needs of the project at the core of his heart might not be able to successfully procure. We all know that. Selecting the appropriate vendors, negotiating contracts, managing the delivery of goods and services. All these four aspects, they should come together for a successful procurement. And effective procurement management can lead to undoubtedly cost savings, because you have made the procurement decision in such a way that your time, cost, labor, all these things are actually protected or less or effectively utilized. Let me put it like that. It improvises the quality, it reduces the risk, and projects, whatever project it be, it could be any project, are completed on time and within budget. There is no doubt about it. So everything boils down to this when it comes to project procurement in project management. So there are several procurement processes that organization use, including competitive bidding, request for proposal, RFP, RFQ, request for quotation, and even sole source procurement processes. Now, before going deeply into negotiation, let me categorically state that there are some best practices for procurement management. One is, you have to develop a procurement plan. As in management, you say post core, right? Planning, organizing, staffing, delegating, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. We have a similar certain set of best practices in procurement management, procurement plan, clearly defining the requirements, conducting the market research, evaluating proposals objectively, negotiating contracts that balance risk and reward, and monitoring supplier performance throughout the project life cycle. Now, types of procurement. There are three, which I've already mentioned, but I'll go in detail here. Sole source procurement is used when there is only one supplier who can provide the required goods or services. Many a time, even in rural areas or some areas specifically where there is a monopoly game that's going on, we see that, we understand that procurement can only be sole source procurement. Second could be competitive bidding, which involves inviting multiple suppliers to compete for the same project, right? It is something which is the most common technique. Third is a little bit more pragmatic, negotiated procurement. It involves negotiating directly with the supplier to determine the terms of the contract. So you know that this is the individual, this is the party who is going to deliver me the required goods or in the required quantity and quality. Then you want him or her or the party as a particular supplier, then you directly go to them, negotiate a deal, and then come back. That is also pretty much happening these days. Now, each of these procurement, be it sole source, competitive bidding, negotiated procurement, has its own advantages and disadvantages. Sole source procurement can be faster, can be more efficient. You are just dealing with the one person. There is no other option. You have to just go with him or her. That is the end of the story. But it may also result in higher cost, no doubt about it, because you don't have any other option. You have any other seller, there could be a certain level of price competition, there could be a certain level of elasticity that comes into play. All these aspects are absent when it comes to competitive bidding. Can help ensure that the project receives the best value for money, but it can also be time consuming. For example, you look into any bidding process, it will take a lot of time. Whatever fast or seamless the process is, even I feel that any system would at least take 1 to 2 months. It's a very, very conservative estimate. but then that takes time, but it is more detailed. The nuances are well checked, the nitty-gritties are well hold up. So all these aspects are there, but it is again time consuming and may result in delays. Then the third aspect, negotiated procurement, allows for far more flexibility and customization. As I've already mentioned, you know that this is the party, let's say A, that can actually offer you a quality you want it to be a quality control. He is the only person who can give you that flexible. You can customize the product, but it may also result in high cost and less transparency because you are part of a system. Maybe it's that the party has come up as a result of a person who knows a person who knows that guy. So there's a certain level of opaqueness that comes into picture, and it brings in less transparency. So basically, if you are being made accountable to that, then obviously people go for competitive bidding, which is more transparent, more common, and people are generally not afraid of accountable in those situations. When deciding which type of procurement to use, project managers must consider factors such as budget, most important thing, because you don't have the money, you cannot go for anything that is beyond your budget. The timeline, because you are thinking of completing your project in 2 months time and you are going for a competitive bidding, you have to ensure that you are going to get the results back, and final award of the contract will happen, and the whole process or the whole the project implementation happens within that span of time, which has to be accounted for. The availability of supplies is also yet another thing. For example, as I've already mentioned, you are in a place where there is sole source procurement is the only option. You don't have any other option. So that is also very critical when it comes to the types of procurement. Now comes to negotiation. Very quickly, it involves discussing and agreeing on terms and conditions with vendors or suppliers to ensure that the project goals are met within budget and time constraints. It's just play of words. Basically, it's like discussion on all the set parameters with respect to vis-a-vis the project, with respect to the nitty-gritties of the project, with respect to the vendors or suppliers, to ensure that every single objective are met within the budget. So effective negotiation skills can help you to aid you to get better deals, reduce cost, improve project outcomes specifically. Now, negotiating with supplier requires a very deep understanding of their business practices. I would categorically suggest this, that a person without a good understanding of the business practices, if he or she is going into negotiation, he will or she will be at the receiving end. They will fail eventually. They should know about the practices. They should know about the pricing strategies. They should know about the current market trends that's happening. So to be an effective negotiator, project managers should first understand their own needs and objects as well as those of the other party. I will repeat this statement once again. Should first understand their own needs and objectives as well as those of the other party. So many a time what happens is this is not considered as A and B. It's A or B, but mainly it is both A and B. You have to know that what is your need and objective, what you are in that particular table for what. Also, you have to have a glance or an idea of what your opponent or what the other party is also having in their mind. Basically, that completes that negotiation mindset. So key aspects of negotiation includes preparation. As I've already mentioned, I've given you some basic idea about that. It define your goals, desired outcomes, identify areas of potential compromise and trade-offs. At one point, see, it cannot happen that every single gain could be your gain. So you have to go for some trade-off at some point in time. It should not happen in the beginning, but it should happen later at some point in time. So that is something which you have to understand, that when and what flexibility you have with your trade-off or the compromise you are going to do is at what point in time of the node, what stage of negotiation. Second is communication and active listening. Be a very active listener, because every single point discussed will come back and bite you if you're not clearly articulating your requirements and concerns. Third is flexibility and creativity. Look for always a win-win solution, not like you will always win and others are going to lose. They will have a different strategy. They will also have a counter strategy. So always look for a win-win solution by exploring different options, even brainstorming creative alternatives. They might not have thought about such an alternative which might be actually feasible. So always have a out of box thinking in this aspect. Building a relationship, foster a positive collaborative relationship with other parties. Now, you should not have a disgruntled or environment of distrust, right? So basically, when you build relationship, trust and rapport can enhance the negotiation process and lead to be more successful outcomes. Agreement and documentation, this is very critical. Many a time all the negotiation goes bad at the documentation part. They may agree at certain things, but they might not be, or they might fail in documenting that at that point in time, which later can be refuted or can be challenged. So once an agreement is reached, document the terms and conditions in a formal contract or agreement. I need not explain here what's the difference between agreement and contract. Agreement, which is having a legal sanctity, obviously is a contract. Ensure that both parties have a clear understanding of all the agreed upon terms, and there is free consent, and there is no coercion that has happened, no luring has happened, etc. Now, some tricks and tactics, something which you might already know. Otherwise, I'll just explain it here. One common negotiation tactic is the good cop, bad cop. You might obviously have observed this good cop, bad cop approach. This involves one negotiator specifically playing the role of the tough, the uncompromising negotiator. So you come as a team. One person always maintains a position that is not going to budge. He's not going to do any favor. He's just going to put the foot on his ground, and he acts as a bad cop. Now there's yet another person, a negotiator in the same team, where he or she is more sympathetic, understanding negotiator. So basically, you try to get attracted to that good cop, and thereby a deal can be struck. So to respond effectively, it's important to recognize the tactic and not let your emotions basically cloud your judgment. Always stick to the facts and focus on the issues at hand. I'm talking from a devil's advocate point of view. Now, another common tactic is take it or leave it approach. So this is also sometimes, I believe, is hazardous when you are talking about negotiation. It involves presenting an offer as non-negotiable and giving the other party an ultimatum. So to respond effectively, it's important to remain calm, composed, not feel pressured to accept the offer. You can always consider, see, everybody there are always, I believe that there are 149 different options for a particular question. So consider alternative options and try to negotiate for a better deal. Again, there is a case study which I can share at a later point in time, because it's a bit lengthy, but then it's a very good case study. Now, I'll share the learnings here. So basically, we don't know the case, but I've generalized the learnings in such a way that even if I could not share it, I can actually give some learnings out of it. So from this case study, both parties must take effort to retrieve data from both sides to quantify and evaluate the outcome of every possible solution. So a good negotiator can anchor the positioning battle around the other party's reservation price. It's important to consider the other party's perspective to take action in their situation rather than our own. Many a time, we try to, put forward an opinion by considering only our situation. So try to be in their shoes also, and try to understand without causing damage to your position. So this will help negotiator to obtain information and interest with the other party, while also building trust and a fruitful negotiation process management. Lastly, from this case study, we also learned that negotiation, that a final outcome can be reached once both parties meet on the same ground or terms. For example, let's say one party is considering itself supreme, then it's very difficult to strike a deal, because that level of equanimity or equality will not be obtained, whatever said and done. So that is again issue. When it comes to procurement, we're coming to the fag end of our session. One is to look into the challenges in procurement, and there is the negotiation part. Challenges in procurement, the first and the foremost, we need not need any other explanation when it comes to supply chain disruption. disruptions. We have seen it during the COVID times with the problem with the vaccines. Procurement teams, the oxygen supply, etc. The procurement teams must navigate supply chain disruptions caused by various factors. It could be by natural disasters, political instability, trade conflicts, pandemics. Need not to mention that. The globalization and complex supplier networks is yet another challenge in procurement, sustainability, and ethical sourcing. Rapid technological advancement. I'll take 30 seconds here and I'll explain this. Technological advances, like we see now this AI, automation, data analytics transforming procurement process. Now procurement teams must adapt to new tools. Now you are having an organization which is concerned or which is having a say or a control in the older scheme of things. You have not adapted yourself and used to the technology, then it becomes a bit of nightmare. You have to acquire digital skills and address all the potential challenges. That happens to be a challenge. Now, demand for innovation and collaboration. Organizations expect their procurement teams to contribute to innovation and collaborate with suppliers in areas like, say, product development, process improvement, cost reduction, etc. Now, changing the regulatory landscape. Many a time we as Indians, we have observed this from early 90s. We have seen this change in regulatory landscape. Procurement professionals must stay updated on all the evolving regulations. Every single day nowadays we see that government is changing some sort of regulation and compliance requirements. So it be it related to trade policies, tariff or IPRs, environmental standards, labor laws, everything is being changed or reformed. So we should be these things should be at our fingertips. Cost reduction pressures, data management and analytics, cyber security and data privacy, talent management and skill gaps. I'll take again 30 seconds here. Procurement functions require skilled professionals. They possess not only analytical negotiation but technical, relationship management. Many a times we see that there is a segregation of talent pool. Somebody who knows or is technically sound might not be good in man management. Somebody who is good with people management generally it's not well versed with upgraded technology or the data analytics or any single aspect. So basically the going ahead, the workforce is evolving in such a way that all these aspects should be clubbed together, and a person who is managing this should have a bit of insight into every single parameters. Attracting and retaining top procurement talent, upskilling existing staff, and addressing the skill gaps are significant challenges here. Now, coming to negotiation, modern issues associated with the negotiation are first and the foremost globalization and culture differences. We have a study in our research itself where we have looked into knowledge hiding from contrasting cultural context. I'm not going to explain that here, but when you look into negotiation, culture differences is very critical. As businesses expand globally, negotiating with individuals from different culture and backgrounds become a little bit difficult. So it's not like there you have a idea, basic understanding of what their psyche is or how they are going to operate. For that, you need to understand from which culture they are coming in, whether they are more individualistic oriented, whether they are more collectivistic in their nature, or whether they have a altogether different mix of culture. So all these aspects have to be taken into consideration. Technological advancement is yet another issue. The rapid advancement of technology, as I already mentioned, in terms of contract management and project management, the negotiation also, it becomes an issue. The rapid advancement of technology, since it has both positive and negative impacts. Complexity and interdependency. Let's say negotiation in modern business houses often involve complex issues, multiple stakeholders, interdependency, a lot of people intertwined in the network. They will have their own different requirements. They will have different perspectives, different cultural aspirations, different level of adaptability. So all these aspects have to be taken into consideration you are going into negotiation. Ethical considerations in recent years, specifically, ethical concerns have gained significant attention. If you see, the research in ethics also has gone tremendously up. Companies must navigate negotiations while considering ethical standards Social responsibility, sustainability, and potential impact on stakeholders. Speed and time constraint is yet another important factor. Power imbalances. Negotiations often involve parties with varying levels of power, such as a large corporations negotiating with very small suppliers. You see that a large corporation comes up with a barrage of legal luminaries. They have a set of legal cell with say 10, 15 advocates coming in, and you are going to negotiate with a small scale supplier who hardly has a advocate or something, or a lawyer. So basically these power imbalances, they do have a negative impact. Sometimes it's a tactics of show, sometimes it's just showcasing your strength. But moreover, virtual and remote negotiations are also happening, which also is a concern now. Adapting to changing market conditions, businesses operate in dynamic environments. Market conditions can change rapidly. Negotiations may need to adapt to changing circumstances. Let's say consumer preferences are changing every now and then. It's not like what the preferences you had in 90s, not same as in early 2000, or say from 2010, 20 onwards. Things are quite rapidly changing. Industry disruptions are happening. Industry 4.0, everything is disrupting. Economic fluctuations are there. More than the seasonal trends, external impacts are coming in. Agility and flexibility are essential to navigate these uncertainties. Multi-party and team negotiations is yet another important aspect and issue that comes up. Often involve negotiation, multiple parties, or complex team dynamics. Coordinating and aligning the interests, the priorities, the perspectives of various stakeholders. I already mentioned that somebody who is from a pure business perspective, somebody who is having a mind of social entrepreneur, somebody who is having more of an academic inquisitiveness. So all these people are stakeholders of your organization. The how you effectively manage them, effective teamwork, coordination, consensus building, crucial for successes and negotiation in such scenario. Data driven decision making is the happening thing now. So every single, before in organizational behavior, in let's say 10, 20 years, 2 decades, 3 decades before, we looked into decision making as a whole process. Then we looked into bounded rationality. Then now it is more of data driven decision making with abundance of data available. Negotiations are increasingly influenced by analytics and data driven insights. Companies effectively collect, analyze, and interpret relevant data to inform their negotiation strategies and decisions. So developing a certain level of data literacy and integrating analytics into negotiating process are becoming essential skills now. So to conclude, procurement and negotiation are very crucial aspects of project management that cannot be overlooked at any point in time. Procurement planning specifically is vital to ensure that the project has necessary resources to succeed. Now, what you have planned to achieve in a particular FI, in a particular financial year, if that has to materialize, that has to happen, then effective procurement planning and execution is vital. Effective negotiation techniques, a later part of the session I've discussed on that, can help project managers achieve better deals with suppliers and vendors, which can save time, cost, labor, everything in long run. Procurement and negotiation skills are not only important for managers, but also for all the team members who may be involved in the procurement process. So it's a sense of belongingness, a sense of ownership that has to come within the team. It's not like only the manager is concerned. If the negotiation deal is not happening, it's falling apart, then it's only the manager to blame. No, it's not a blame game. It is a concern of every single individual, every single element within that particular team. Finally, successful project management requires a thorough understanding of procurement and negotiation process, as well as effective communication and risk management strategies. Many a time, I've seen that organization collapse because of lack of effective communication and risk management strategies. So, whatever said and done, if you are not able to communicate top to bottom and both horizontal to vertical communication, and your risk management strategies are not in place, your organization is bound to fail. So that's all from my side. Thank you for listening to me patiently. This was a session on negotiation specifically, and the other one was on cost aspect. So yes, so now I can take some questions. Arun Navdatta. Any questions or any clarifications?
Yes, Dr. Abraham, excellent lecture. I have two questions.
Yes, please.
Number one is, do you think reverse auction in procurement management is going to defeat the quality of product or quality of services?
Can you specify once more? Reverse option.
Reverse auction.
Okay. Reverse option. Yeah, please go ahead. Reverse option.
Reverse auction in procurement management
Okay.
is going to defeat the quality of product or quality of services. Perhaps you are aware about reverse auction.
Yes. I certainly don't think in such a way that, at least from a theoretical perspective, I've now never come across in such a way that such an understanding is not there, where it can hamper the quality. At least maybe in such a way that sometimes it can have a certain level of hiccups. For example, if say the organization is passing through a cash crunch, in those situations maybe it might not be able to honor, but I don't certainly think that is going to happen.
Actually, earlier days when we did a lot of project and contracts for Bokreshwar, then Sagar Digi, Santaldi, etc. Blah blah.
Okay.
Then normally we followed the norm of this either international competitive bidding or domestic competitive bidding.
Okay.
And in that case, you know very well, first we have to evaluate the bidders, and we have to find out who is technically 1, technically qualified 2, technically qualified 3.
Yes.
Then who are the technically qualified bidders, only their price bids are going to be open.
Yes.
And after opening of the price bids, when you find yes, X is the L1 bidder, we normally place the order to X. But nowadays, or maybe for last decade,
Okay.
it has come up. Even when the lowest bidder is found out, the reverse auction is in place.
Okay.
Everyone can understand who is the L1 bidder, and taking the L1 bidder's price as the benchmark.
Okay.
The other bidders are told, you please again submit your rock bottom price, something like that.
Okay. So that specifically gives them one more chance or one more option to present their cost or their bid, for that matter, right?
But if we trust the bidder, and if we trust that yes, the whatever bidder has quoted, that is actually cost economic price.
Okay.
Again, we are telling him then, you again bring down your price.
Yes, it's sort of a negotiation that's happening indirectly. So that is, I certainly feel that when you have the autonomy to do it and you have the bandwidth to do it, I am actually for that.
Oh, you're for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question.
Yes.
Second question is: Have you heard about the actually in domestic bidding? Have you heard about the syndicate type of bidding? Have you heard of it?
Is it sort of a cartelization that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion?
Oh, that is also not fair in part of the whole process. That means they can always just control the whole pricing mechanism, which I am not very for that. So all sorts of cartelization, whatever it is, should be eliminated.
Okay.
Thank you,
Dr. Abraham. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Abraham, can I interject?
Yes, Amit. Yes, sir.
I am inclined to agree with Mr. Dave that reverse bidding has got a lot of negative effects. I have seen in a lot of cases that reverse bidding is sometimes like gambling. to get the order, people go down to a level, and finally, after getting the order, they realize they will not be able to execute at that price. So a lot of cases have happened. They have forgone earnest money before this. It is cheaper
Yes, yes.
than to do the work. And quality, of course, sometimes they do the work, but at the expense of quality. This practice, I feel, is not fair. But a lot of global companies, they don't want to come due to this reverse bidding. They said that you asked me to be L1, I am L1. You negotiate with me. I am prepared. But don't do a reverse bid.
Okay.
The highest bidder can be lowest bidder. So that's it. So this is the danger part of it. Lot of orders have been finally ordered by the bidder because of this. Fertilizing is a very normal thing in the Indian system, and one has to deal with it. You cannot, it is not good, but it will be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you one example. The railway wagon tender every year, Indian Railways, they do the tender. And they give the order, sharing the order between the wagon tender at the lowest price. Whoever is L1, that at that way it is divided. Maybe L1 will get some more percentage. So all the builders, they sit together and make it a point that the lowest figure is not low. Different point. Yeah. So the lowest figure itself is high. Fertilization. And so much so that sometimes they do it together. The final figure.
Okay. Okay.
So you cannot avoid it. You cannot do it. You can do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, it is beyond our control in such situations.
I mean, the customer knows, Indian Railways knows it is
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
But they are not able to do anything.
Correct. Correct.
So these are the 2 points I have to.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your input. So I hope.
So it was an excellent presentation. I must tell you.
Thank you.
It was so good. And for such a long time. I mean, I remember our college days, IIT days.
Okay.
We used to listen, and they were not liking also. It was such a long lecture. But after a long time, I had to long it, and it was very interesting.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
People glued on the lecture for a long time is a difficult time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for actively listening and giving all the necessary inputs and suggestions. Thank you. So I think that's the end. I can.
Your
Yeah.
Professor Kalita's lecture was also very. It was both very detailed 1.5 hour lecture. That was also very excellent. Very lecture.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Abraham, Dr.
Thank you.
Abraham.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
probably Professor Kalita is not there now because Mr. Day had some questions for him, I believe. Mr. Devrata Day. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay. So I'll just log off, sir. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Abram, I still feel that the reverse suction is not good.
Yes, go on. Dr. Abraham has left. Yeah.
Thank you.
Really inspiring address by Dr. Isaac, and a very lucid concluding remarks by Mr. Ghosh. And now I invite questions from the members of audience. And I would request Professor Abraham Cyril Isaac to be with us. And we have seen that Mr. Urunavo Dattagupta had, I understand he had some query to our panel speaker. Mr. Dattagupta, can you unmute yourself and put your question?
No, thank you. In fact, whatever point I wanted to discuss, it has already been discussed.
It was a common question.
Common question, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think if there is no more questions, then we can go to the next speaker. I mean, if you think so.
Yeah. Next
Because we are
session,
running a little late.
we are having the lecture 3. This session is on civil and structural design and site execution of material handling projects, and with a particular emphasis for the case study of coal handling plant. And this session will be addressed by 4 eminent representatives from the industry. We have with us